All right, it's an early fall day here in Colorado. Let's go on a mountain bike ride. Just gonna do probably just do a mellow ride today. Go through the foothills area. If you're wondering, Mountain Lory State Park, and it looks like I got the whole place to myself today. Hopefully. Just saw a couple cars. There's someone else out here. Not many though. Not many at all. Woohoo! I'm like I still like to go over the rocks like a kid. It's the fun part about riding. Woohoo! So I just got back from a desert trip out in the Colorado Plateau, as they call it, up in Moab. Canyonlands National Park. Adjust this camera angle. Hopefully that's a little better of an angle. So, yeah. All right. So Canyonlands is awesome, and I do that trip at least once a year. I've done it more. During COVID, I did it like all the time because it's like one of the only ways you can get out and get away from people without the mask police showing up. It was fun. Kind of kept my sanity while the insanity happened. The insanity's still happening. Still happening. Got a call from a friend who I used to work with, and another woman that we worked with had been posting, was victimized and had a full frontal nude video posted on Facebook the other day. This woman is in her mid-60s, maybe late 60s probably by now. But she thought she was in love, mutual, with the comedian Matt Rife. Now mind you, this is an older woman. And Matt Rife's like a 30-something comic. And he was the imposter, catfished her, I think that's the term. And she was coerced, persuaded to send him nude videos, which the scammer would later use to bribe, for ransom, blackmail this woman. And from what we understand, she basically ran out of money. And when that happened, this person He's not even a person, this evil thing posted those videos, that video. Is that crazy? It's all crazy. Beautiful scenery, huh? Should probably ride on the trail. It's safer. Quit going off the trail. Pay attention. So, maybe we'll get lucky today. See a bear. They're very active right now. Putting on the weight for the big sleep coming up. Bears are fascinating. They're just beautiful, aren't they? I could never shoot a bear. Well, depends on the circumstance, of course. So back to the social media person. Very nice woman. Cancer survivor. Feel so sorry for her. And I just wish that I want to reach out to her and, you know, say something, but I don't want to cause any further embarrassment. It's freaking ridiculous. Hey, I heard you had nude photos up on Facebook, and I really feel sorry about that. But I do. Anywho, people aren't smart enough for social media. I wish it was never invented. I mean, I got off it for a long time. I'm on it for two reasons. The main one probably being you know, as a musician in a band, and you got to kind of have a presence. It's kind of mandatory these days. So, not that I make a ton of money as a musician, but you got to play the game, right? And I get it, you know, club owners and these guys risk their livelihood to host live bands, which I greatly appreciate. They don't have to do it. Some people are driven off by live music, while others are attracted to it. I got a lover up ahead. Beautiful colors here. Good morning. Pull off wherever you're safe. Thank you. Enjoy your run. She didn't seem happy. She must be one of the trail owners. Like the rest of us. I wouldn't call that a pleasant interaction. Must be new to town. So Lory, mountain bikers kind of saved this park back in the day. It was totally underutilized. There was talk of selling this place, or the state. It was just far enough outside of town to make it inconvenient compared to the multitude of other open spaces. And back then I got involved with an organization We actually went out and did counts on trails. Part of the IMBA, International Mountain Bike Association. And we kind of trail users and all that, and tried to keep land managers evaluated. And it was 90% mountain bike in this park. And now, population growth, post-COVID, and mainly paddleboards. This park is overrun on summer days. I mean, if you're not here by 10:30 or earlier, you're probably not getting in. So that's the way it is. Mountain bikers built this bridge I'm about to cross. I remember it well. It says right here, this bridge, with generous support from Overland Mountain Bike Club and labor, dedication of volunteers, of which I was one. I was actually on the board. Well, I was on the board that predated Overland. It was called Diamond Peaks Patrol back then, an offshoot of ski patrol, backcountry ski patrol, up in the Diamond Peaks area, Cameron Pass, and a couple guys, Tim Knox, what's his name, Tim? Was it Tim Knox? Ramona Harrell, and Tim, damn, I can't remember his name, it's been 30 years. So they started this club patrol thing. It was basically to protect access, grow trails, and do work on trails. And that club got to be so big, so successful, changed its name to the Overland Mountain Bike Club. But first, a brief history. A guy named Dave Kemp, DK, pretty famous in the bike scene, well known. He's been like city bike director, Fort Collins, Berkeley, California, UC Davis. I didn't study his curriculum vitae, but Dave's got credentials. But he started off as like the director of fun. Literally, that was his title at New Belgium. And he joined the club, you know, as part of New Belgium's outreach. I get it. So they came up with this idea called Tour de Fat. This was back in like 1999. And the first Tour de Fat, our little bike patrol was a recipient for something like $800. The proceeds of the epic Tour de Fat party at the brewery. And we had a mountain bike ride and a road bike ride. And the first year, yours truly, second year too, I led the mountain bike ride. And I brought people from the brewery actually out here to this park. But we climbed up in the hills and played up in the steeper stuff all day. Then we head back to the brewery for a beer and libations, a band, and a party. Small party. Next year, same thing, a little bigger. We raised $1,700. So from 800 to 1,700, follow this trajectory because it gets crazy. A couple years ago, the club raised like $270,000 from one event. And they now split it out between a number of clubs like Bicycle Colorado, this one kids outreach thing, but they make tons of money. I remember when we were doing this, we were dreaming about maybe one day we could have a full-time director who does outreach all over the state, you know, and helps with trail building, because there's some great examples of mountain bike private public partnerships all over the place. A couple of them are the Fruta with the Tapawash trails, lunch loops as they're affectionately known, and another one that I really think is cool is in Michigan, and it's the Stony Creek, Pontiac Lake, that's the one of those two. It's been years, but I remember riding out there and they didn't have much land and the terrain wasn't super duper, but what they did with it was phenomenal. So really essential part of this sport. Mountain biking. Which I like. I'm getting old. Comes a rider. Come on up. You're good.
Thanks.
I needed to have a heart attack anyway.
There you go.
So, well, that's a pleasant interaction. See? Two mountain bikers. But, yeah, so the Tour de Fat, which is now, might be getting loved to death. Fun party though. Oh, this year seemed tamed down. Might have been the weather. Years past, the drinking and debauchery was epic. Another bridge, this one, built by the Kiwanis, Fort Collins. Those guys are nice. The Kiwanis are the people that fight blindness, diabetes and stuff. Great organization. Used to know the president here, the local chapter. I forget his name. A few years ago. See him at all the parades, you know. So let's get a look at this view before I make a decision on what I'm going to do here. You guys seeing that out there? I have to winterize my property. Oh, it's a lot of work. Everything's a lot of work. You know what? I'll go a little longer today. I'm having a nice time talking to you guys, my friends. Ugh. Is this my therapy? Maybe it's your therapy. Let me know in the comments below. So when they built this trail, I had left the club by then because my kids were hockey kids and playing other sports, and I was not around. Every hockey parent will attest to that. So I resigned my position from the club, regretfully. I really did enjoy it. It was It was fun, and it's grown into something. There's a couple people. Barb, I can't remember her last name. Her husband Greg, who became a well-known trail builder in the West. I think he still enjoys that career, and they built this. This is their doing. When it's first opened, I called it Little Moab because it reminds me, you know, like that piece of slick rock right in front of me, and just the way it kind of goes through the sage and mahogany up through here. That it looks a little like something you find out in the desert, Moab. This elevation is really special because it's kind of, everything can grow here in from Colorado. You know, you can get the pine trees and the aspens and the mountain mahogany and the sage, and the grasses, and you see just a few feet up to my right, our right, that the pine trees, the timber starts to happen, and that's another, you know, part of Colorado that, you know, only happens at elevation. So, and that's the elevation it occurs at, and that's about 6,000 feet right there. 58 maybe, 5,800. That is. Slow down just to hopefully give you guys some of this view. I get this wide angle lens on this camera now. Hope you enjoy it. So yeah, this is a cool little trail. Gets a little more interesting here. I'm gonna drop my saddle a little bit just to take on a couple of these little drops I got coming up. So, and so very fun. I really like this part of this trail. And here comes the drop for everyone to see. I should have taken the other line. Whoa! Probably looks like nothing on the camera. They always do. Never looks as steep as this. I posted that video of me going down Murphy's Hogback in my Grenadier. Oh, use you. Hello there. Step off wherever you're safe, sir. How many you got? Just two of you? Yep. All right. Enjoy your hikes. Thank you. I say enjoy your hikes because it's an individual experience. They're having two experiences. Not all of our experiences are the same. Heard a phrase the other day from a respected elder friend. No man dips his foot in the river. No man dips his foot in the same river twice. I think I got that right. But it basically means the man will change and the river changes. And it's kind of how life is, right? The things around you don't stay the same. We all know that. We don't stay the same. Steepest climb of the ride coming up. It's not very steep. Short. Short and sweet. little hill here. When the water's flowing, that's a fun little treat right there. Ugh. Oh. Not sure if you guys are seeing the cove here, little inlet. And then here comes the climb, the claw. And we're down. But we gotta climb out of this now. That's the climb. So, what else is going on in the world today? Horse. Just look at the tracks. Seeing if I see any big claws. That looked like a bear. That was a bear. Yeah, I remember going out with guys, chasing them up this climb or leading up this climb, just being miserable. The climbs, a couple of moderate things coming up, but not that those were hard. You can climb all day if you want around here. They're already coming up. You'll have the uphill, so. Two riders were approaching, and the wind began to howl. Jimi Hendrix.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Beautiful out, isn't it?
Oh, it's awesome.
Thanks so much.
Perfect fall day. See, friendly interaction between mountain bikers. Two hikers, not so friendly. There's this movement by hikers like, oh, mountain bikers they run me off the trail. Bullshit, never seen it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tear it up on that fat bike.
I'm just trying to stay upright today.
Yeah, they're fun though. They're fun. The fat bike craze. Because ahead of the curve on that one. My buddy Greg will attest to that. I was a big fat bike fan. I used to say, if I get my front wheel on it, I could climb it. On the fat bike. They had so much traction. It was ridiculous. And then I entered a race in Winter Park. We got hooked on the whole fat bike craze. You know, riding through the snow. It wasn't a long race. It was, I don't know, probably 8 miles or something like that, but it was hard. And it's so hilarious because when you hit downhills, you have no traction at all. Well, you have traction, but you can basically steer, put it that way. Falling was absolutely inevitable. You had to, you literally throw yourself on the ground sometime just to stop. But, you know, in 3 feet of snow, it didn't really hurt too bad. Fun. Regret selling that bike. I don't know why I did. I had a weak moment. I said, you know, craze is over. And every winter, I'm like, why did I sell my fat bike? And then I learned the company that built them, they made really nice bikes, Borealis, out of Colorado Springs, went belly up, like just recently, last month, 2 months. So, That was a bummer. You guys were doing good work. Man, then I just heard Giant, the big, bicycle manufacturer, lost their import license into the U.S. for a bit for massive labor law violations. Like, they're caught using forced labor, and just doing things that aren't cool. So, but they make frames for everybody. How will the bike industry survive? There's about 500 YouTube channels on that subject. I think Giant will do just fine. The US, while maybe its top 2 markets, is not essential to the survival of Giant as a brand. Other makers, though, rely on Giant. So, Giant needs to clean up its act. And that's okay. So, I don't talk much about my business, but I was a fairly large employer in Mexico and operating by the book over there. And when you do it by the book, not that cheap. Maybe half the price of the US. If you dot your I's and cross your T's and all that. Watch your finiquitos. But a lot of the Mexican companies don't play by the rules. Found that out pretty quick. I called it the gringo tax. Let me get some reflection off this camera. Turn it out a little bit. And it became hard to compete with those guys. As a US-based employer, I had a Mexican company, Mexican corporation, but I didn't want to create any legal problems for my US-based corporation. So we played strictly by the rules, as you should. Come on up. You thought you had it to yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy your run. So the point of my story is that there's a lot of that goes on in foreign countries that make it patently unfair, a very unlevel playing field for US manufacturers to compete. And all you need to do is go to Mexico, any of the borders. I recommend San Diego and Tijuana. And count the number of full trucks coming into the US and the number of empty trucks going back to Mexico. And I will tell you right now, it is probably 60 to 1. And that might be an underestimate. But Mexico's absolutely crushing us on manufactured goods. Let's see how this interaction goes. Will we have a good one? Howdy. Oh, go, pull off when you're safe, ma'am. Don't worry about me. I needed to stop and have a heart attack anyways.
Only one?
Exactly. First one today.
Oh, okay.
Pardon me. Enjoy. Couldn't biff on that climb. That's one of those pride moments where he was just like blocking the trail enough. So I was like, dude, I need that line. But he was nice enough to get out of my way. So I couldn't say, I need that line. So I had to take the alternate line and climb across those rocks. I didn't want to look like an idiot. My pride is saved for the day. So back to Mexico. Yes. Countries do have labor laws. Do local employers adhere to those as we do in the U.S., as we're forced to do in the U.S.? Are they administered and enforced in the same manner? And I'm going to say, absolutely not. Not even close. And that is the moral of the story. Make of it what you will. Apply it where you will. Now, you know, are there countries where they're absolutely Canada, for sure. UK, for sure. But some of these up-and-comers, where labor is notoriously cheap and the country is not really known for being wealthy, I do believe they give employers a pass. So let's see how. Hey, buddy. You too. Appreciate it. So. Anyways, the Mexico Corporation currently furloughed all workers down there. Just to reevaluate what we're doing down there and really get a better idea of some of the longer term costs associated with being in Mexico. Want to hear the crazy story? So, shortly after setting up in Mexico, we opened our bank account down there, and we're transferring a sizable amount of money, approaching $1 million a year, down to Mexico for payroll and such, paying the bills. I get a call from my banker, Mr. Orr. He introduces himself and tells me how happy they are I chose his bank and all this stuff, small talk. And he says, I remember this well, Mr. Orr, while your business is so valued here and your money is certainly safe with our bank, we are not immune to the influence and persuasion of the cartels. Unfortunately, no bank in Mexico is. So, well, I'm not trying to alarm you. I want to warn you about some things that happen to other clients so it doesn't happen to you. You will probably be approached one day, maybe at a gas station or a restaurant, by a friendly person, Mexican or not, who you'll strike up conversation and realize that you have things in common, and maybe you'll make a plan to meet again, and you realize you have joint interests in Mexico. He may have a business down here or a family that does business down here, and after a certain amount of time, he'll invite you to his home, and you become friends with him and his family. He'll need your assistance. He might need to move, $50,000 down because his bank screwed something up, and he has a payroll he has to meet or a property that's in dire need. And can I send that money for him to the bank and receive it down here? And he said, just play on. He said, Mr. Orr, that is money laundering. He said, in the cartels, I guarantee the word is already out through our bank that who you are, where you live in Colorado. How do you say Colorado? Colorado. He had a very charming accent, by the way. And that I would get approached, and like literally the next day, this gentleman comes up to me in the gas station. Hey, papi, which is a sign of respect for an older gentleman in Mexico. But this guy, I think, was older than me, which kind of threw me. I was like, wait a minute, you look older than me, bud. Maybe the roles are reversed here. But he didn't do that. But I just thought, he actually, that's another story. So this guy that came up to me was, hey, papi, needed a tank of gas to get to Texas to reunite with his family. And he was trying to tell me the story, but I don't speak good Spanish. So I called my manager in Mexico. I said, interpret this conversation for me. So she said, well, the gentleman has been working in northern Colorado for 3 weeks and was supposed to get paid today for money he was going to bring back to his family in Mexico. And the person that he worked for didn't show up. They basically stole from him. He's been robbed. And he has no money, no food, and he has to go back to Texas and then to Mexico. And he's ashamed. And he's angry. So, I took him for his word. I don't know if it was true or not, but I bought him a tank of gas and filled him up with snacks and sandwiches from the gas station. So he made it to halfway to Mexico anyways.